All right, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack how technology has completely and permanently transformed what it means to be a true football fan. If you've always thought fandom was strictly about grabbing a pie and a pint outside the local turnstiles on a Saturday afternoon, well, you are in for a seriously fascinating ride.
So, we have to start by asking, what actually makes a real football fan? Does an authentic supporter absolutely have to live within a few miles of their team's stadium? Or can a screen sitting thousands of miles away hold the exact same passion, the exact same heartbreak, and the exact same joy? It's a massive debate, and it's kind of tearing through the sports world right now.
To put things into perspective, check out this number. 3.5 billion. That staggering statistic really sets the stage for what is a massive global phenomenon. Roughly 1 in 2 people on planet Earth consider themselves a football fan. Half the planet. But here's the thing. With stadiums only holding what, maybe 60 or 70,000 people max? Where are all these other billions of fans actually experiencing the game?
Well, picture this scenario for a second. It's the 2019 Champions League final. 2 English clubs, Tottenham Hotspur and Liverpool, are battling it out in a stadium over in Madrid. But the scene we're focusing on is actually happening in a distant newspaper office in Athens, Greece. Tensions are running incredibly high. Co-workers are aggressively going at it, calling each other bandwagon fans and passionately defending their chosen English clubs as if they were literally born on the streets of London or Merseyside. The game kicks off, Liverpool scores early, and this Greek office just absolutely erupts into celebrations. Fandom, as we know it, has fully left the physical stadium.
Section 1. The Global Fan Phenomenon. How Fandom Crossed Borders.
Historically, traditional fandom was an entirely physical thing, right? It was deeply rooted in geographical ties, your local pub, the walk to the stadium, the specific neighborhood you grew up in. But today, we're seeing the massive, unstoppable rise of transnational fandom. We're talking about digital communities, online forums, and hyper-focused Facebook groups completely bridging the gap. Fans are connecting instantly, crossing state and national boundaries, to share this intense devotion to a club they might not physically live anywhere near.
Section 2. The Culture of Mediatization, the Academic Driving Force.
Now, there's a fascinating sociological meta-process driving all of this, called mediatization. Mediatization isn't just about watching a game on a TV screen. It's the process where society actually becomes dependent on the media and its logic. In the context of football, the media is no longer just an outside entity reporting on the 90 minutes of play. It's wild to think about, but the media has actually become the lived, required experience of being a fan. It is fully 100% integrated into how a supporter builds their identity.
Let's break this down a bit using researcher Winfried Schultz's 4 aspects of mediatization. First, there's extension, which is human communication extending over larger physical spaces. This is fans organizing online instantly and costlessly all across the globe. Then there's substitution, where media actually replaces social face-to-face activities. Think back to those fans screaming in that Athens office instead of sitting in the stadium stands. Then we have amalgamation, which is the blurring of the lines between media and non-media actions. And finally, accommodation, where the sport itself literally changes its rules, scheduling, and business models to fit media logic. A great example, scheduling Spanish games in the mid-afternoon just so they can be broadcast during primetime in China.
Section 3. Redefining the real fan, old labels versus fluid reality. For a long time, academics relied on Giulianotti's classic taxonomy of fandom to try and categorize people. They argued that only the top tier, the traditional quote-unquote hot supporters who had deep emotional and local geographic ties, were the true, authentic fans. Everyone else, well, if you just followed the team online or focused mainly on the celebrity players, you got slapped with the label of a follower or a flanner, basically dismissing you as just a consumer with incredibly thin solidarity to the actual club. But honestly, that rigid taxonomy creates a totally false dichotomy between the authentic local fan and the inauthentic digital fan. It completely ignores how two-way digital platforms actually work today. A fan living thousands of miles away can absolutely demonstrate the exact same intense, hot, traditional traits as a local supporter. They passionately defend the club's history, they rally hard against rival teams, and they form deeply emotional communities online.
Section 4. Cosmopolitanism in Modern Football. Global Identity, Local Passion. The reality is, today, fans build their identities using what sociologist Ulrich Beck calls cosmopolitanization. Just take Liverpool's famous marketing slogan, "We are Liverpool. This means more." Clubs deliberately foster this inclusive cosmopolitan identity through something called inclusive differentiation. It's what allows a fiercely dedicated fan all the way in Greece to proudly adopt the local moniker Scouser, feeling a deep, genuine sense of belonging to a wider, imagined community. It completely blurs the lines between internal locals and external globals.
Section 5. Doing digital fandom. Stories from the digital stands.
Let's look at how this plays out in real life. A group of Greek Liverpool fans recently stood at Anfield Stadium proudly holding a Greek flag. Organized by a guy named John Skotidis, this official Facebook community for Greek Liverpool fans grew to thousands and thousands of members. And their digital organization ultimately manifested right there in the physical world. They used the Facebook group to connect, organize a massive trip from Greece to England, and physically blend into the stadium culture wearing the club's gear. The physical and the digital aren't separate anymore, they are completely intertwined. Or consider the sheer raw emotion from a Greek fan named James. When critics were relentlessly attacking Liverpool's recent form online, James fired back with this passionately detailed timeline of the club's history. He wrote about how, at just 14 years old, he watched his absolute favorite player slip in a crucial match, and he literally cried in front of his TV screen. He declares his unconditional love for the club, regardless of where they sit in the league table. James has never even set foot in Anfield, yet this deep emotional investment, loyalty, and passion absolutely do not require a physical stadium seat.
And we see this exact same thing across different clubs too. Take Dimitris, a massive fan of Newcastle United. He actually joined Facebook specifically to try and find other Greek Newcastle fans, thinking he was totally alone in his fandom. But he found a small, tight-knit digital community. He recalls watching an unbelievable 4-4 comeback against Arsenal via an online stream, chatting intensely with this community the entire time. He says, and I love this, you feel like the other person understands you 100%, even if he lives 300 kilometers away. For Dimitris, the digital ether completely replaced his physical isolation with a profound, very real sense of shared belonging.
So, as we wrap up today's explainer, I want you to consider this. Does physical location dictate the validity of your passion in a digital age? When our most intense, knowledgeable, and emotionally supportive communities are being built straight through keyboards and screens, maybe geography doesn't dictate the size of a fan's heart after all. Take a moment to reflect on your own fandoms, wherever they may be and however you connect with them. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep exploring.